means we still don't even really know yet which two teams are going to be moving on from Group A as well as Group B. Again, the top two of the four teams move on, but we're not sure. Obviously, yesterday was a crazy, crazy day. Several upsets taking place. Very interesting results have led us to a point where today there's still no clear answers. But that's a great thing as a spectator, of course. That means every single match today pretty much going to be important here when it's all said and done. With that said, I'm Break CBK, going to be your host, of course. We got a matchup here. Bad Monkey Gaming taking on Shrek is Love. BMG currently 1-1. Shrek is Love currently 1-0 here in the group stages. So once again, a very important matchup for both these teams as far as trying to advance on. Also joined by Minnie. Minnie, how's it going?
Hey man, yeah, I'm doing good. I'm looking forward to sort of see this matchup. I know we haven't seen too much of Ogre recently. Obviously, we saw him in the playoffs, but I didn't think they had the greatest showing, honestly. So hopefully we'll see something different here today.
Yeah, you know, this is definitely a team, again, they had the win result against a team who I believe it was, of course, in their match during the weekday. So, you know, that's why they have this 1-0 record. But, and again, Team Who, they're coming off a victory over this Bad Monkey Gaming team. Or no, they beat BMG yesterday in a one-game series. And, you know, that was one of the crazier results that we saw. So, anything's possible. And you know, to know that a team like BMG especially may not actually be able to move on with a loss here is pretty crazy to think, but that definitely could be a possibility if that all plays out that way. But anyways, we got the game to start talking about here, so let's go ahead and take a look and see as far as how the draft is coming along. By the way, we did start a little bit late here. I do apologize for that, but it looks like Twitch was having some issues, man, so on their website, but it seems like they got it all fixed, so hopefully things are good to go. And you can actually watch the stream here. Anyways, the initial bans, we were looking at Ophelia, Dr. Repulsor, Warbeast, and Tremble. You have that first pick, Kinesis and Iglesias, Magmus and Pebbles, and then Legionnaire and Malakin. So, BMG, they get both Kinesis, and then again, Legionnaire, they've been running a lot lately here. Strong start for them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've been talking to a couple of other competitive players recently, and they say that BMG and Box's Kinesis is just too strong to give it up. They think he plays it so well, and obviously they integrate it with the team as well, just too well to give it to him, honestly. It has too much lane presence and can really snowball in the hands of Boxy. So obviously it's going to be interesting to see if Boxy can fulfill the domination that people are sort of talking about. I mean, obviously we did see him play it once in the playoffs, and he did very much dominate with it. So hopefully we'll see it here as well, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Again, it's that very recent performance, but he has been doing it for a little bit. But it's the most recent one against Mint in that grand finals where people were just like, you do not want to give him that Euro, man, at all costs. So yeah, definitely a little bit of a risk here by Shrek. So we'll see how it may come back to bite them in the ass if they. With them giving it up right here. Now, on their side, again, Glacius, Pebbles, and Malakin is their carrier of choice. Now, Horspell, a.k.a. Nox, as we know him as, and from the history of On, of course. So, a fantastic carry player, and going to get his hands on Malakin. Definitely a hero that has a lot of potential to do work here. Now, Malakin can go at the same time, not your everyday carry. Do you see logic here for the Malakin pick?
I think it's more so of a comfort pit than it's more against what they're laying against. Obviously, I think Malakin +1 with support can actually lock down Kinesis quite well, because obviously Malakin has more of a catching tool, obviously with the sword throw, for example. But I think it just goes back to the comfort factor, not only for Nox but for Ogre themselves. They've been playing a lot of Malakin recently, and they have been doing quite well with it. So I think it's less so more the draft and more so just sort of comfort factor.
All right. Now, speaking of comfort factor, Andromeda, another hero that we've been seeing a lot on the side of BMG. Of course, Fusin, the one that ends up playing in. They do it very well. So this is definitely coming together, a very BMG-esque lineup. If this was any other team right now, you may be going, what are they thinking a little bit? But again, knowing BMG, this is definitely very, very comfortable for them. A final pick here. We'll see how they give Baltazar as far as this carry hero.
Yeah, they're going to have something that deals with the Malakin in the late game. Puppet is banned, actually. So, I mean, Puppet would have been pretty decent, though, because Puppet is quite useful against Malakin because the Voodoo Puppet is very useful against the position from Malakin. Obviously, Malakin gets the 60+ armor, but obviously with the Voodoo Puppet, it comes through from magic damage, so that would have been a nice pick up here, but it is banned out, unfortunately. Or actually, Ogre pick up Midas as well. I'm assuming that's going to be in the off lane, actually. Very similar to a Kinesis in that respect. Both fulfill similar roles, per se. I think Midas is more of a sort of team fighter, then obviously Kinesis can get easily get a lot of solo pickoffs, for example. And I think Kinesis has a little bit of an easier laning stage. So I'll have to see where that comes here. But for the last pick down, a Gemini still on the board. It could be either the pick up Soul Stealer though. So there's that kind of magic damage I was trying to talk about with the Puppet Master. Obviously Soul Stealer can definitely offer a lot of physical presence, obviously, in the late game, but particularly in the early game, you want to have some magic damage to deal with Malikan, even from your carry. Puppet Master was banned out, so they pick up Soul Stealer instead. So
yeah,
I understand that.
Yeah, going to Soul Stealer right now. Again, Balthazar, I don't know if he necessarily plays a whole lot of Soul Stealer, and again, it's also not a hero we see all the time either, so going to be interesting there how it works for him and for BMG's sake. But how about that response right away of Cthulhu, the final pick? I mean, that they literally picked it up right after the Soul Stealer was picked up. No thought or even going into it as if they just knew what they were doing from the beginning. Now, I'm looking at this Legion team. I mean, there's not necessarily an Ophelia Parasite or anything like that where it's a counter with the Hook'em ability. It's just they're very confident with the Cthulhu pickup here. So what do you think they were thinking with that?
I think they just wanted a jungler. It's quite useful because it obviously can get aggressive. For example, perhaps maybe try and harass Kraki off when he goes into the jungle at level 3 or level 5, for example. But I think it's just that Ogre wants to play with the jungler. Ophelia was bound out, and I think so were some of the other junglers as well. And also they could do with another sort of frontliner as well. To get her in the front and sort of the face of Soul Stealer, for example. But yeah, I think it's more so they just wanted a jungler. It can obviously harass out Legionnaire, which is something that I might look to do around like minute 5, for example. Just a solid pick.
Yeah. And with all this discussion about these even games here and how we're still not even sure what could happen, and again, we've been bringing it up several times too, yesterday especially, that the possibility of a 3-way tie, well, is very possible if things work out a certain way, especially for that second-place team and moving on. So now I got confirmation earlier today before we got things kicked off here that a 3-way tie it'll come down to how it's come down to in the past. Again, we haven't done a whole lot of group stage formats here with Han in general, but in the past, if it happens to be a 3-way tie, obviously in 2-way tie, you just got the head-to-head, and that takes care of it easy. But 3-way tie, it'll come down to actually the highest kill-to-death ratio in the matches that involve those 3 teams against one another. So basically, the more kills and the less deaths you have in those matches, the better chance you have of moving on. Ultimately, the top team of those 3 will move on from there. So to kind of clarify what is on the line. So, keeping that in mind a little bit, too, how, the occasional deaths, throughout the game for the support heroes maybe just scouting it out. We say it's not that big of a deal. It's like, well, you got to be a little bit careful about that now, especially since that could affect the overall big picture, too, if you're not careful. So it's an interesting note there. But, yeah, we've done that in the past for group stage events, and it seems like it's been pretty cool as far as advocating action and kills. So keeping that in mind there. But going to be in a pause here to start things off, and this will give us a little bit of time, though, to also talk about the day here and what is upon us. So obviously this being the final day, but what that means, we got the 4 matchups here. We're getting it kicked off now. I know it still says Willowkeeper on the screen, but obviously they are now known as Bad Monkey Gaming. This will be their last matchup. Of course, being the third game, being a 1-1 currently. They're going up against Shrek is Love, followed up by Fresh versus Shrek is Love. Then finishing off the 2 matches, Nullstone Gaming versus Solaire Club, and then Sync Esports versus Nullstone Gaming to wrap it all up. So that's what our day looks like here on Honcast. So exciting day ahead of us. Some good matches here.
Definitely.
Once again. All right, Boxy doing his Boxy thing here.
Yeah, I was going to say, bought his boots. He's most likely going to sell them. I think he's missed. Yeah, he's actually going to keep these boots, then I'd assume. Yeah, he's actually bringing Regen over, so he's actually going to keep the boots. It's something that he does like to do if he's against like a defensive pseudo tri-lane, for example, because obviously having that extra movement speed, you just simply can't really get caught out because you have that extra mobility. Glacius is most likely going to be in the top lane. They could actually run a dual mid, though, from the side of Ogre.
Yeah.
The boots really only make sense if you want to sort of stay alive in the lane. If you're 1v1 in the lane, you obviously want to have like stats and extra regen, for example, and this and that. The mobility factor isn't that important 1v1. It's just more for surviving. But from what I can see from Ogre, I'm assuming it's just going to be Glacius, Pebbles mid, Malikan top, Cthulhu jungle, and Midas offlane. So yeah, the boots first item is an interesting pickup here from Boxy.
Yeah, it keeps him. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, usually we do see the case of him selling it, but Gonna sit with them here, feeling like that's necessary. Now, again, it's safe to say he has plenty of experience, and we keep talking. I mean, they first picked this for good reason. We see teams banded against them, so gotta trust that he's comfortable and knows what he's doing here, of course. But it is still worth bringing up, obviously, and definitely intrigued by that idea. So, as far as how lanes are evolving now, again, if you've been living under a rock or whatever, you haven't been watching competitive HON in this last week or so, you might be a little bit confused about the Legionnaire middle, but again, that's what Bad Monkey Gaming, that's been their go-to strategy. And, it's kind of amazing to me that it's been literally their go-to hero every game, I feel like, and it hasn't been banned once, and they always pick it up in the first three. So now, I mean, I'm not saying he should ban it, because it doesn't seem like it has that crazy huge impact and scary.
I don't know. I think I would disagree slightly. Like, if BMG are comfortable in playing this hero every single game and they're winning quite a lot of games, unless you have a strategy to do with it, I don't see why you just wouldn't ban it out. I guess you only get 2 bans out in the first phase, I guess, which makes sense. And BMG will always pick the Legionnaire third normally, which I can understand. But I don't know if BMG are happy in running it every single game and you're losing to them. Maybe there is a understanding of maybe banning it, perhaps. I don't know.
Maybe not banning it, but maybe thinking about picking it up yourselves. I mean, certain teams, we know that they're comfortable. Nullstone Gaming, for example, and Sync Esports obviously was lapped. They're comfortable with it. So, possibilities like that of not necessarily banning, but being a ban in a sense where you just pick it up yourselves and to use it, kind of throw them off a little bit of what's clearly a very comfortable strategy for them as of late. But yeah, using one of those initial 2 bans, I can see why teams may be a little cautious to do that. Look at Andromeda at the bottom lane in the meantime. Trying to harass Midas. He gets boxed out quite a bit himself and has to fall back and will have to heal up. So good job by Mighty Marcus, standing his ground right there and making sure not to give it up to Andromeda. Root of Z, of course, doing the creep pull with the Magnus. Nothing shocking there. Doing what we'd come to expect. Again, eventually going to most likely switch to the middle lane as Legionnaire will come to the jungle around the 4 or 5 mark, it seems like. That's when that usually happens. So,
yeah. Normally it's like you said, level 3, level 4. Magnus is already jungling with the creep wave at the moment though, so Legionnaire will probably be having sat mid for the next maybe 3 or 4 minutes probably. Glacier's actually rotating over here.
Yeah, gonna apply some pressure, and I mean it's still level 1 Magnus. Magnus thinking about going in. Obviously has Legionnaire coming over, but Glacier's falling back just before. Now a little bit close, but by himself, not going to be able to do too much as Legionnaire at this point. Just going to box him out really now. Now, I will say, it seems like when we've been seeing this strategy, I feel like they haven't necessarily ran it with a Magnus being played with Root of Z. It's been more of a range secondary support even.
Yeah, it fulfills the same role though. They just want a hero that can jungle with it. Magnus is one of those. It's either the Riftwalker because he can jungle, Behemoth sometimes, even the Geomancer if you remember. I think it's less so about being a range hero, just more if it fits in the draft. Sorry. But Magnus is actually a hero that Ogre like to pick up a lot themselves, perhaps, and BMG picked it up second, perhaps trying as a counter pick in that respect, and that's why they prioritised and picked up the Magnus here, and they can still jungle with it, as you can see, because of the volcanic touch.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so taking a look at the carry players for either side, how the farm's coming along. Balchazar here, 17-6. It's safe to say he's got a good start with the souls, already maxed out, and again, being that 2v1 makes sense right here. Bloodlust kill at the top lane. I was focusing on the stats, and sure enough, Kinesis gets killed at the top. He gets caught by Glacius coming over with the illusion rune, and Malikan, of course, assisting. In fact, getting the kill. No, Cluckmuck got it, but still, well played. And hey, you want to lock down Boxy early on, especially when he's on Kinesis.
Yeah, definitely nice rotation, but this is why I think the Boots first arm on Kinesis is a little bit questionable, honestly. Like, he's been 1v1 against Malikan this whole time, and all middle lane.
Yeah, now Legionnaire's in trouble. How about this roam by Cluckmuck here on Glacius, doing a fantastic job, and setting up 2 kills now. So yeah, one thing about Kinesis with those boots, but Legionnaire middle lane, a little bit too far pushed up, and they took advantage of it. So 2-0 start here for Shrek.
Yeah, just really nice rotations, as you said. But like this is something like the Kinesis is 1v1 against Malikan, and if you're 1v1, you don't want to have Boots first starting. You have very little last hitting stats, and you have very little mana regeneration. And because of that, like he hasn't been able to be too competitive in the lane. Like even before he died, like he was only like 200 GPM, whereas Nox was still like 300, for example. And I think this could just be because of his Boots pickup. I guess he just wanted the extra mobility because he was scared of maybe rotation from Cthulhu, for example. But I don't know, he has a ward there to protect himself as long as he plays correctly. I don't think he needs to have the Boots first item, because at the moment he just isn't really pressuring this Malikan at the moment. Nox is dominating this lane.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say earlier. I mean, looking at the creep farm, I mean, he's also up there with Soulster, like kind of their neck for neck right now as far as the creep farm goes. 27-10 Malikan, and again, you see Soulster basically there as well. So keep it on par with one another, but of course the advantage that Malikan has is he's working off the assist at least that he got earlier in the game. And in fact, we could be seeing another kill right here as Legionnaire is found in the jungle again. This goes back to a tree, BMG now. One of the criticisms we do give them is that they're a little bit, routine as far as their strategy goes. Fusel was on. He made the point that he doesn't feel they're necessarily the same thing every time, which, to be fair, they're not 100%, but this is clear. Again, it's clear they're going to send Legionnaire into the jungle round 4, round 5. They've been doing this for so long now, for a week and a half here, and it's pretty clear that Shrek knew that. They knew that. They picked up on it, and they finally gank on him.
Yeah, and we was talking about, obviously, maybe they should perhaps ban out Legionnaire, but, I mean, I guess if you have ways to deal with it, as they have done here, then that's not that big of a threat, honestly. They're actually dominating in the laning phase, as you can see, about like 3,000 gold, about nearly 4,000 experience. It's only 6 minutes into the game. Pebbles has got great farm. He's nearly 400 GPM right now, and he's going to have a very early portal key, and I mean, there's a lot of squishy heroes, particularly the Soul Steal as well as the Kinesis, that can get bursted down because of that. So yeah, BMG, they're in a little bit of a bad situation at the moment. And there's not much they can really rotate over. Obviously, Legionnaire's sort of busy in the jungle. Magnus is farming mid. The only person that can really rotate over is the Andromeda. Perhaps they might look for a kill up top, but Kinesis is only level 4. So BMG, their hands are tied as for what they can do right now because they don't have any of the tools or the ability to do so.
Yeah. Boxy does the level 5 right here. Again, he's trying to get any kind of farm he can. You see 180 gold per minute, not really the best start. There we go with the poor man's portal key in the middle lane, but Magnus is going to be able to stun away in time. Good reaction on his part. But yeah, that's some powerful synergy right there. Pebbles throws in Glacius. Glacius freezes immediately. And then you got the follow-up Pebbles stun, of course, is the idea with that. So close, but top lane, Malikan going on a Kinesis. Pops the ulti form. Can Kinesis some way, somehow escape one more on attack? He gets it off. Oh, the health potion tick.
Nice.
Just enough to keep Boxy alive. I thought for sure that was a kill. But no, using the health potion at the right second right there. So well played by Boxy. But again, he's going to have to run back to base now. And Malikan will just continue to get bigger and better. So sure, it's great that he lives. But the point is still there that Malikan's getting free farm. Kinesis is getting really nothing. And this is going to fall a lot onto the shoulders of Soul Stealer here, being played by Baltazar, and for him to have some huge success. But Pebbles on the other side having huge success, not good. And in fact, speaking about Soul Stealer, Transmute comes out. Glacius with the phrase, and now Soul Stealer's going to most likely drop as he does. Shrek came here with a game plan, and they are by all means executing it right now.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think it's because BMG, they have this certain sort of clockwork style and strategy, but if it doesn't go to plan, they don't have the greatest like B plan or backup plan kind of thing. They're very they're very sort of static in what they can do. As I said, their hands are kind of a little bit tired. Their lanes have to go well, and if they don't, then they don't have the greatest backup plan, for example. Like, Legionnaire can't really do too much until he's got Portal Key. Kinesis obviously needs to have high levels to have a big impact in the lane. And obviously, Magnus and Andromeda. Magnus is busy farming mid, for example. So yeah, when things don't go their way, they don't have the best way to really rotate over and look for kills or look for a way back into the game at the moment. One thing I didn't actually read is that Mazera is actually playing mid, by the way. Normally he's their suicide player for Ogre, and just from maybe this small rotation in terms of roles, it is working, seems to be working a lot better, honestly. When I played with Mazera on my team, actually, he was playing middle, so that could be a comfort factor perhaps. But.
Yeah. Now, that was very good execution right there. Andromeda came with the stun. You saw Baltazar line up the 2 Demon Hands initially, and then the 3rd Demon Hand as soon as you poured it away. I mean, they planned it all the way, and finally a hero kill on the board for BMG. So that's, they got to start somewhere, and that is a good start for them, but still a long road ahead of them as far as early on in this game. It is only 9 minutes coming up here now. I want to go back to Soul Stealer, though, speaking of him, again, picking up that kill right there, so his GPM at least going up a little bit more, 330, because of how the game's going. I mean, again, clearly it's just not working across the board. In fact, it could get worse right here. Magnus, he's going to be gone on the chuck, goes up. Will it be enough for the kill? No, it won't. One more on attack. He gets it off. Yes, it is. Clockmuck on Glacius, 4-0-1, man. He is dominating with this hero. You got to look out for that. But Soul Stealer, what item does he need to prioritize here, you think, to really keep his team in this game? As actually Cthulhu Fawn, he is going to be decapitated. Good catch on him as Legionnaire and Kinesis come together right there.
I think he's going to have to go for sort of early build-up and maybe try and get involved, perhaps like Energizer into Portal Key. Baltazar is a hero or player that really does like the early Nullstone, for example, but I think with his team going bad, he's going to have to prioritise going like the Energizer into like a Portal Key, for example, to try and get active. Oh, Glacius gets picked off as well, actually. What did he go? I think he bought something. Do you know what he went?
I didn't notice. I think he got the Soul Scream ring, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, yes, Energizer.
Right,
there
yeah,
we go.
right. So he does go Energizer. Yeah, I think this is the right call. Perhaps followed up by a portal key to try and get active. I mean, they aren't so far behind, so perhaps he might just rotate into a Nullstone. But depending on where he feels the game is, he'll either pick up a portal key if he wants to get active and try and help out his team, or go for like a Nullstone to try and secure late game farm. Oh, Query picked up from Illusion Midas.
Yeah.
Nice play.
All right, so we'll see again how the follow-up looks here. Again, the Energizer first, though, gets those stats and assists for some fights if need be, as you're pointing out there. You look at Macera, though. Again, you mentioned he's playing the middle role, maybe not usually that role, but doing fantastic here. In fact, 420 gold per minute. Portal key, he just about has it. 1,900 gold saved up. He has a power supply with the Steam Boot, so he's got a good start up with that. Portal key is just around the corner. They're trying to set up a gank here in the middle lane, but you can tell he knows something's up. And he's playing it pretty defensive here, so, yeah.
Look at this ward, by the way. This ward plays by Macera. Clearly not a support player.
Yeah. Little bit of a misclick right there. It happens. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, Magnus. The trample comes out, obliterate as well. The chuck in the air, and down goes Magnus. Well played again. Good execution right there as well. You can tell the teamwork's on par, especially for Shrek here.
It really is.
They're communicating very well.
Yep, and that's the portal key on Pebbles now as well. I think he still might even be able to actually one-shot the Soul Stim, I think, actually. Even though... Oh, I don't know, he's got about 1,000 HP, and he probably won't be able to one-shot the Soul Stim, actually, but... He might look for it, though.
Well, Mystic Vestments is going to be something of priority here, I think, safe to say, for the Legion team, especially on the Soul Stim. And speaking of him, though, we're going to get an idea right here. Oh, my gosh, yeah, middle lane. I mean, they had no clue that the portal key was on Pebbles yet, but he just got it, as we pointed out, and sure enough, Soul Stealer is the first victim. So... Boy, oh boy, not looking good. Bottom lane, Cluckmuck again, another kill coming out. Of course, Midas there for a lot of assistance, I'm sure, but geez, it seemed like BMG was at least starting to calm things down there for a little bit, but now it's once again a pretty drastic lead. 83 hero kills, 5,600 gold, and nearly a 6,000 experience lead.
Yeah, and I think it's like I said, like the Boxy hasn't had a big impact on the game. Like normally, whenever BMG do well, it's Boxy having a great start in his lane, and that puts pressure on the rest of the enemy team to try and help out that lane. But seeing as Nox just sort of dominated top, perhaps because of the questionable boots choice up here from Kinesis, whether that is the reason or not, Nox has been completely up here by himself, and that's allowed Cthulhu to focus on mid, for example, and have impact elsewhere. It's just it's quite strange seeing Boxy just with very, very little impact in the early game anyway.
Absolutely. Macera, you also getting the tower kill right there. 500 gold per minute Pebbles. Never a good sign. Look at Nox's build, by the way, the double helm of the victim. I mean, it kind of makes sense. He's going to build it both into a Whispering Helm and then an Incendiaria, so why not get the extra powerful regen first, especially if you're not necessarily looking to get involved in fights, because that's the great thing about their team makeup right now. You look at the hero kills, 5 on Glacius, 3 on Pebbles, and Nox has just been able to farm. This is your premier 4-1 strat right here.
Yeah, it's not even really a 4-1 strat because like you're not even going all in on the Malakun. Like you've got obviously the Pebbles doing very, very well. Same goes for the Midas as well. I think it goes back to like the Kinesis. Like normally 1v1 Malakun versus Kinesis, like that Malakun should be getting support, but whatever Nox did, he's just dominated this lane. As you can see, 460 GPM compared to Kinesis, and there was a 1 rotation from Glacius obviously, which was good, but even before then, Nox was dominating that lane. So just playing well, and this is what I mean by comfort factor. Like we've seen him play Malakun a lot of the times. I mean, whenever I see Ogre, I see Nox on Malakun. At least 80% of the time, it feels like, and clearly he's very, very comfortable on the hero.
He definitely is, and working out right here. Whispering Helm finished again, has that Helm of the Victim now ready for the Incendiaria, so that's going to be on the way too. He's currently pointed to the bottom lane, going to do their own Ancients, it looks like. Going to get these triple stack, the Vagabond leader that he has controlled. Going to use that to stack with, or maybe just do it himself here, it looks like. Pebbles was at the top lane, but he decides not going to find anything up there. In fact, kind of running back to base right now. I'm not too sure what his plans are, to be honest. I almost want to say he might have been TC, but no, he's just kind of roaming around, figuring out where to go. Doesn't want to get caught by Ward of Sights, possibly, so being very sneaky with it. As he's going in the background. Portakey, though, just also picked up by Midas, so another hero that's going to have the PK now. Bottom lane, you look at Cthulhu Font coming in. He, too, is probably going to be on his way to a portal key. In fact, does he have it being delivered? Is that... no, okay, it's just Ward of Sight. I was going to say that would be ridiculous, but no, he still has a little bit to go, but maybe in the middle lane they could find something here. Magnus and Kinesis next to one another. Gonna scout out the Cthulhu Font?
Oh my god.
They're like hugging each other. Wow, I'm surprised I didn't see each other, and then he misses the trample. That's funny. I don't know how they didn't see each other. Like, they were literally touching each other. Yeah, those trees, man. Those trees sometimes hide pretty well, I guess. Yeah, Cthulhu Font's only like the largest character in the game. I mean, how could you see him, right?
So, I like what Ogre are doing though. Look at their warding though. Their wards up here, really aggressive warding, really trying to control and dictate the stage of the game where a BMG can farm. Like top is very, very pushed out, and obviously they're a little bit scared to sort of farm there. Mid is obviously pushed into the tower, and then Ogre completely farming the enemy jungle here, BMG, and because they had such a good advantage in the laning stage, they're able to do this though, because they simply BMG cannot contest. They can't take a team fight yet. There's no stronghead yet on Soul Stealer, for example. There is a portal key on Legionnaire, but I mean, you look at the items of Ogre, and Ogre would just crush them. So Ogre doing the right thing and really trying to dictate where BMG can farm.
Now, Nox needs to be a little careful up here. You do see BMG, they're trying to make priority of where to get the kill, and obviously starting with Malakin, a very good option. Legionnaire has that portal key, again, trying to find the time to initiate. We'll see if they get it. If Malakin goes out a little bit further, they could definitely tower dive this as well. So it's just going to come down to how fast will they be able to react to TPs. It looks like everyone has one but Cthulhu Font currently to react up here. So it's kind of a tense situation. It's just a matter of will they find the opportunity. And they're not finding it, though. Nox is playing this very safe. Not really giving them anything. So well played on his part in that sense. And you see his teammates in the meantime. They're roaming throughout the Legion jungle, just getting some kills on creeps on both of the lanes as well as in the jungle, of course, and taking farm away.
They know what's up. He knows what's up. Like Magnus is showing in lane. Obviously, they have all these visions over here. They don't see anyone. So, Soul Stealer might be in trouble. Oh, Pebbles actually portal key down bottom. I think he could even call the Soul Stealer there, but oh no, I thought that was Illusion Pebbles, but yeah, that could be fun.
Kinesis gonna mess with him right there. Ooh, middle lane transmute. No, nothing to follow up though from Midas right there. But yeah, it's great job by Shrek. Definitely reacting to that pretty well. And, I mean, that was some good time spent by BMG as a team to try to get that kill that they don't even get to attempt in the end.
Yeah. They lost 1,000 gold and about 1,000 experience because, bottom lane.
They're going to go, but that's just Cthulhu Font right now. Again, is not the best target. Now, they should be able to pick up the kill at least, so he's kind of like the guy that's, well, if I die, I die deal right there. The sacrificial lamb is the term we use, so he goes down. But, you know, again, not the worst loss necessarily for Shrek. At least they got something out of all that time, though, did BMG. You were mentioned, though, you know, again, the gold even getting big, though, that's because of all that weight.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, BMG, there wasn't anything else they could do. Like, they either had to completely dodge what Ogre were doing or try and take a team fight against Ogre in their own jungle, which obviously they're just not strong enough yet, so they had to obviously sort of try something different what they did, but it's fun. They got a kill down bottom. They're still very far behind, but if they can get maybe a stronger hit on Soul Stealer, obviously it's about 1,000 gold away from that. Perhaps they can take team fights. So like, oh god, they don't have the greatest physical presence really. I mean, Malakin is doing a little bit, but a lot of the damage still going to come from like obviously the Midas and Pebbles, and stronger head from Soul Stealer is going to negate that completely. So
yeah. Yeah, to clarify earlier, I meant to mention that Team Who beat BMG, and I was wrong. They lost to Fresh, that's right, whereas Team Who beat Fresh, that's what it was, in these group stages here yesterday. So, yeah, Willowkeeper, now known as BMG, again, they did get the victory over Team Who, which is why they're 1-1 currently. But, again, a 1-2 record means a very good chance you're not moving on, and that could be something here for BMG. Andromeda, she's in some trouble. They went on Legionnaire first, but the swap happened. But what a play between the two to keep each other alive. Wow. That was very well played. And you know what? We mentioned that buff to the ultimate yesterday.
That made a difference there.
That made a difference there, I think it's safe to say.
It really did. It really did, Frankie.
So kept him alive. There we go. The buff being useful.
Buff OP.
In the end. Buff is OP. So, Insanitarius, though, finished in the meantime by Nox. Again, it's all pretty and all at BMG, you know, staying alive, getting to go to the bottom lane, but Nox still getting some great farm, 444 gold per minute. I mean, it's tapered off a bit for Pebbles, especially. You know, he's trying to be active, though, with this portal key. And again, even though he's not necessarily getting the most farm, you can just tell how scared BMG's playing.
Yeah.
Because they're forced to.
Yeah, definitely. It's obviously all right, middle lane.
That's a pretty big taunt right there. He's pulling them back into his creeps. Actually, Malakin taking a lot of the damage. He's going to get bursted right here. And he does steal a no, but not for long. He goes down when it's all said and done. Mass Control doing too much damage. Magnus does it as well. There's two to Malakin and Pebbles. Pebbles pop back, by the way. He's TPing and he's trying to make some big plays. Glacial Downpour doing some good damage in the return. Midas gets a good transmute off. Down goes Soul Steelers. Cthulhu goes back in. But again, Pebbles is coming back. Tree needs to pick up on that Bad Monkey game that is, as Magnus gets picked off. And there comes Pebbles. And Dromada's going to fall. What was a fantastic start for Bad Monkey Gaming. Mighty Marcus finishes it with a quad kill in the end, and now they're going to start pushing things in right here. Kinesis and Legionnaire. Legionnaire more so has a buyback. No one else. They're not going to push into the base, though, but they get the tower, and they're going to fall back from there. But, yeah, definitely worth the buyback on Pebbles. Even with the initial kill on Malakin, they still don't come out on top.
Yeah, it was actually a good start from BMG, as you said, Breaky, but like I said, I mean, they used a lot just sort of kill that Malakin, and then they should have been happy with that. They try to go for more, Ogre, they had obviously the golden experience lead before they took that team fight, and the later that got on, when the initiation sort of X factor from BMG was lost, obviously, because the team fight lasted 3 or 4 seconds, Ogre just turned it, and BMG bit off a little bit too much than they could chew. So.
Yeah, it really was a great idea. And, you know, we don't see Legionnaire taunts used like that a whole lot. It's actually, speaking of Legionnaire taunt, decapitate. Yes, it will be. I was going to say that was close, though. But, I mean, you see Glacius, he's a little bit tankier than usual. He's got the Grave Locket. He's got a major totem here, so Legionnaire almost didn't do enough to get that decapitate off, but he did. But going back to that, you know, using the taunt and then running away with the people, so kind of pulling them to your team, it's not something we really see a whole lot with Legionnaire going into team fights. So that was kind of a clever thing by Cracky right there. And you know, what really helped them get the good start on a Malakin especially. But
yep.
You saw, though, in the big picture, it wasn't enough at least. And still, Shrek got to be feeling pretty good about where things are at. And, you know, Soul Stealer forced to really go this shrunken head ASAP. And that's usually not a good thing, but, again, it's understandable that he had to with the way this game's looking.
It's needed. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Obviously, that he's forced to take team fights. He can't sit back and farm, obviously, with the Nullstone. That's why he hasn't gone for it here. If he went for the Nullstone, like, he would just be getting one shot from, like the Midas and Cthulhu and Pebbles anyway, so... Makes most amount of sense. He does have a strong net node now, and I think they're going to have to wait or expect or hope for Ogre to make a misplay or kind of overextend as they did. I mean, that team fight was okay because they were diving the tier 2 tower, and with a shrunken and a Soul Stealer, that could have been a lot better, for example. So.
Magnus, he's farming out this bottom lane, still trying to get that portal key, unfortunately. For Root FC and BMG as a team, still a bit of ways off of it. He's got a lot of build-up here, including that Mystic Vestments. We stressed that earlier. And you do look at this Legion side. 3 of the 5 heroes have a Mystic Vestments. Of course, the Shrunken onto Soul Stealer on top of that. So they are making a point to have that, especially with the Pebbles and the start that he had. But, yeah, you got Midas. You got Cthulhu doing some good magic damage. So all that you have to worry about here. What is this? Bottom lane, Magnus? The illusion.
And pretty clutch.
Yeah.
He got stunned when Pebbles portal keyed on him. So.
Okay.
Pretty clutch timing there from Rusi.
Stays alive, but again, still a ways off of that portal key, unfortunately, at this point. You know, for Balthazar, again, going back to him, I know we kind of mentioned earlier, but now we're getting an idea. Like you said, he had to go to the Shrunken Head first. Does he now need damage, you think, like a Geometer's being the Assassin Trap, or should he even go a portal key here?
Yeah, I think portal key will make the most amount of sense because like the Geos or any kind of damage, like you don't think he's even going to be able to finish the damage item before the next team fight's coming. So portal key would be able to make imagine like a Legionnaire taunt plus a Soul Stealer on top of with the Soul Burst. Like you'll easily be able to one-shot people with that, and the Geos is not going to offer as much as like the portal key as of right now, for example. So without a doubt, it would be the portal key.
Tablet of Command on Boxy here, playing that Kinesis. Again, we know he likes to do that with the Grave Locket also he has currently on him. I think she has a charge on it, so we'll respawn, I believe it's, 10 seconds quicker, if not mistaken? Yes, and reduces 10 seconds from the respawn time. And kind of a nifty part of that item right there. Pebbles, middle lane, he's thinking about maybe trying for something, but realizing not a whole lot there. And, well, in fact, the whole team is here for BMG, so it'd be a very risky and probably a bad decision in the end. He is working on his own Shrunken Head, of course, and getting pretty close to that. And I mean, you look at this Legion side as well. I mean, again, they're trying to get a lot of magic threat out there, so having these Shrunken Heads both on him and Malakin are going to be absolutely huge encounter. Now, obviously, he's still got the physical presence of Legionnaire and the right clicks of Soul Stealer, to be fair, but safe to say at this point and for a little bit longer here, the magic presence is going to still be a pretty big threat, so getting those Shrunkens again will do quite a bit here. In favor of Shrek. You also look at a Sheepstick is just around the corner for Mighty Marcus now.
Yeah, he's really fun, actually. It's nearly the same farm as Malikan actually. Farmed very, very well. After that, he got like a quad kill, didn't he, in the last bit of fight, so it's pretty fun. That's going to be useful though as well. Like, obviously, Solstice picks up a Shrunken. If he can portal key and sheep stick onto the Solstice, that's like almost a 3-1 team fight. Because BMG, like I think their biggest way of getting back into this game is like a Legionnaire Taunt plus a Soul Burst on 2 or 3 preps. And if you can catch Solstice before that, then they're going to be winning these team fights. So.
Here we go. BMG going. Oh!
That's annoying.
Oh, that's got to be so annoying. They literally just popped up the Veiled Rod. They're all coordinating it, and then all of a sudden an illusion just spots them. That's brutal. Well, good job using the illusions.
Yep.
Scouting that out.
Nice play.
That was an attempt right there to make a big play.
That would have been a nice play. If they can get level 16 on Solstice, I think they'll still be in a decent position. But it all comes down obviously to the initiation from Krake. If he can get a 2 or 3 man taunt onto a Soul Stealer Soul Burst, that will be massive. And I really hope he goes for a portal key because like any kind of damage item is not going to get them back. So there's a portal key. Really happy with that choice there. Because that's the only way they're going to be able to have an X factor in these team fights is through initiation and through the burst damage that they can provide. So. Yeah,
that Olin style. That's really where they're forced to kind of go here. As obviously this lead pretty significant for Shrek. They're doing the Kongor. This is a chance for BMG to try to make something happen again. They got a lot of AoE synergy most certainly. But Shrek is going to pick up on that and realize actually Legionnaire just going YOLO right there, charging in. I wonder if Ogre even thought that might have been an illusion or something.
Yeah, probably.
Running in and ends up portal keying away though, so trying to scout out. They did get a Ward of Sight down. Do they have any Bound Eye here in the Hellwars? They do not, it doesn't look like, so BMG going to have all that information, and for the time being, not going to be doing Kongor just yet. And be a little cautious with it. Again, you can definitely understand what Shrek is thinking, that the last thing they want to do is give a huge opportunity to BMG with that AoE presence, so. And the Kongor pit is pretty friendly for that. You got a little bit of gold being pulled up on a couple of heroes here. Legionnaire, 1,500 gold. So the Sheepstick, by the way, though, has been finished on Midas, so he has that now to work with. They're going to go back in onto Kongor.
I think they have to fight this. Because the Soul Burst, like instant burst, is not going to obviously work if they have tokens, so they have to try and fight now.
Here's a chance. They're going in with that Veiled Rod smoking on up. Malikan, the taunt comes out, pulling him away. Pebbles misses the stun in the first place. Malikan, the Soul Burst going off right there. He's still in the air, though, I believe. And now he pops a Shrunken Head and looking to turn things around as he pops the ultimate on top of that. And Bad Monkey Gaming is falling to pieces right here. That was the all-in. They go for the big Soul Burst. Again, though, I believe Malikan was actually up in the air.
Yeah.
And thus reducing damage.
It was just a little bit mistimed, unfortunately. Krake went in, taunted, and Soul Stealer was about 2 seconds behind. So when he jumped in, he tried to use the Soul Burst, but I think Malikan got off the Shrunken Head just beforehand, and as a result, there wasn't that blow-up factor, unfortunately. It just didn't time it perfectly. Yeah, I think if Legionnaire caught him, if they blew up the Malikan, they might have been able to actually have an impact on the fight, but obviously he comes back, pops the Shrunken, pops the possession, and that team fight just goes in favour of Ogre because they couldn't get the perfect jump, unfortunately.
Absolutely, and this is, man, yesterday was filled with several upsets. Today it's going to possibly start off with one. Again, I want to go back to talking about, I know it's not over just yet, but what could possibly be for BMG, again, a 1-2 record. There's a very, very, very good chance that that's not. In fact, I believe mathematically that means they wouldn't be able to, because that would put Shrek at 2 wins, and either one of the other 2 teams are going to at least be getting a second. No, maybe not. Okay, maybe I'm getting too ahead of myself. Anyways, the point is, there's a good chance that they may not be moving on from this, and we're talking about a team that's going to Thailand for the World Finals.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a team that's obviously, they're going to be going to Thailand for the World Finals. This event, a big part of this event was for both Sync and, well, BMG to kind of get some warm-ups, some more tournament games in before that big event. They may be knocked out before the second stage of it, which means less competitive tournament practice, unfortunately. So there's even more on the line for them in that sense.
It's crazy to think, though, but I think it just goes back to there's a lot of teams out there that are really good, but they're not maybe at that level just yet. But it just sort of shows how close the competitive scene actually is right now. How people can take off games from each other.
It's definitely got some good parity going on right now. Soul Stealer, he gets jumped in the meantime. He couldn't even pop his Shrunken Head right there. There was just too much lockdown. His team support was not there. He goes down, and right now it is all Shrek. I mean, it's not even right now. It continues to be all Shrek. I mean, there really never was a point in this game where BMG was actually looking pretty good, to be frank. They were always playing behind, and that's to the credit of Shrek. I mean, it starts with Pebbles. Massera, you mentioned from the beginning, he did a fantastic job. Maybe not his usual role, but he did fantastic here on Pebbles.
Yeah, he really did.
Midas as well also had a great start, I think it's safe to say, at the bottom lane for what he had to deal with. So.
Mazzara is actually a really, really great player. I had the honour of playing with him, and just a very, very solid core player. Obviously, he used to be normally playing Suicide. He played mid for my team, and it's just a very dominating kind of playmaker. Clearly showing it here. So
now, okay, so you know, I brought up the point about a three-way tie. What would happen? It comes down to kill-to-death ratio against the teams that you played. Okay, but you know, I was going to try to bring something up about this game, how BMG needs to be a little bit careful about giving up more deaths and whatnot. But actually, you know, they wouldn't be tied with Shrek,
anyway.
so they wouldn't be tied with Shrek, so it wouldn't matter in that case because it's only up against the teams that you would actually be tied with. So, all right, so I keep trying to think too much about this, man. It's like
I don't think, Break. Yeah,
exactly, just let it happen.
Yeah,
just let it
too
go.
Too much thinking, man.
Yeah,
let it go, man. Frozen.
That was actually pretty cool by Quincy pointed out right there, too. You know, kind of the sweet spot here for Shrek. It's kind of a drastic difference, really. You know, under 30 minutes, they're only 27%. Over 45 minutes, at 36%. But in this sweet spot here of 30 to 45 minutes, they actually are above average, 54.5%. So this is apparently they're kind of a mid-game effective team, is safe to say here.
Yeah, I mean, the draft definitely showing that, like, Malika not the sort of the most normal late game carry, and obviously they've got like Pebbles and Midas, both very strong playmakers. Malika actually picked up similar rage actually, and I think it's less so. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Obviously, if you think about it, I talked about how BMG could have won that team fight if they blew up Malika from the start. And obviously this just gives him extra tankiness, so that doesn't happen. Not only that, but he wants to keep his TP and his token slot, so there's efficient use of his slots.
Yeah, Malika with that symbol of rage. So, yeah, we haven't really been focusing a whole lot on that because of just the Onslaught here. Well, the Onslaught, it's the tournament name. But anyways, Shrek, how powerful they have been. But yeah, another 2,200 gold saved up on Midas, 3,000 on Pebbles. A little surprised I don't have a Soul's Bulwark yet, to be honest. Figure Pebbles, if anything, would be that candidate. Maybe he's going to plan to get it, but not playing it just yet. If anything's in for a buyback here, although they're even pushing, which is kind of weird. But we saw that earlier work out pretty well. Anyways, Legionnaire goes in, but no! He missed the toss. A portal key reaction by Midas. He happened to be going at the same time. And now here comes once again Malikan pops the ult form. Soulburst goes off, but again, a lot of Shrek heads were up right there. So minimal damage from that, really. Mass Control, I believe that missed everything. Poxy, he tried right there to land it. Did not do so. Andromeda and Legionnaire are both dead currently. No one dead on the side of Shrek, and they are just prioritizing the racks. They're taking care of business. They're not going to dive to the well. That's what BMG almost wants them to do, but obviously Shrek is not going to fall for that. They're going to play it safe, play it smart, really. Magma's going to be gone right there. He drops immediately, and I think BMG has got to know here that this game's basically over. There we go. Vote to concede. Game one of this. I keep saying that. This is a one-game series. This game goes to Shrek, and that means they're 2-0, but pretty much more importantly, BMG falls to 1-2 here on the group stages. And that means they are on the verge of not advancing on to the bracket stage, which takes place next week. And again, that's a pretty big deal for a team that's using this tournament not only for a chance at a $3,000 prize pool, but a bigger point being that they're using it as more competitive tournament practice. And that could be their final game here of this event going into Thailand, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Ogre played really, really solid, though. I think there was a couple of questions, particularly Boxy's Kinesis in the top lane. It just didn't seem to have as big of an impact as it normally would. Not only that, middle lane, there was just a lot of rotations from Ogre, and Cluckmug, especially in the Glaciers, man, he made so many kills happen, and it really set the tone from the whole game after that. Obviously, Pebbles had a very easy time in mid because of Glaciers, and got the portal key. Malikan had a very easy time as well, and just everything was just very solid from start to finish from Ogre. And BMG, I think they just got maybe a little bit outplayed, honestly, and because of that, they couldn't get back to their usual sort of game plan and strategy, and as a result, they lost. So
yeah,
really nice play there from Ogre, and like you said, it's just kind of surprising to see BMG win Thailand in such win the playoffs to go to Thailand so considerably in a considerable fashion, yet kind of have a little bit of weakness here. But Interesting nonetheless.
I'm glad you did bring that up about Shrek, because getting a little focus there on BMG and what this means for them. But you're right, Shrek played fantastic there, and this is a team that again they've been looking solid here, and a lot of people had some faith for them going into the playoffs that they could be a team to reckon with. Again, they were doing the LAN and everything, or the boot camping, and taking it pretty serious. Just fell short of the semifinals, though. Again, it was overall tough competition, but this is a team to look more and more forward to going into the offseason here and seeing what they can do, especially sticking together. So congratulations to them. And I mean, with this win, actually, for Shrek, speaking of them, it guarantees them now going on to the next round. So there you go. Big congratulations to them. It's them and Sync Esports are both the guaranteed teams so far that are advancing on. Whether it's going to be one or two, I'll have to wait and see, but obviously that's got to be feeling pretty good now. Now, this does set us up, actually pretty good timing right here, even with the late start. Our next match is set to start in about 5 minutes from here, so there will be a short break coming at you, but our next match, and let me pull it up on screen for you guys real quickly right here. As you can see, it's going to be Fresh versus Shrek is Love now. So, and again, this is a very, very important matchup. Because, the scenario's here. If Shrek wins this one, that means they go 3-0. They're the number 1 seed, yada, yada. But Fresh, if they were to lose it, then they would be 1 and 2 as well, and that would do a 3-way tie. And so then that would come down to, for Team Who, Fresh, and Willowkeeper, BMG, of the kill-to-death ratios we talked about amongst one another. So what that is right now, I have no clue. So we really have no clue. We'll have to wait and see if that happens and figure that out. So BMG, they're basically rooting for Shrek is the point here. they're rooting for Shrek to beat Fresh is what it comes down to. Where Fresh beats Shrek, then it will be Fresh and Shrek moving on, and Fresh would actually be the number 1 seed as a result of beating Shrek is Love. So there you go. Those are the scenarios that are set up for us now, and what's the final match at Group B mini. That should be some good stuff, and it's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out. But the way that Shrek played right here, I'm looking forward to seeing them play against Fresh now.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of crazy though. Like, I think it just goes back to something that we talked about before, that there's just so much competition in sort of the top tiers of HON. People win or can beat any other team. Obviously, you've got Sync very, very far ahead, to be honest. But outside of that, it's very, very close, which makes it very, very exciting, to be fair, to watch.
Yeah. It has been both yesterday and today, and it continues clearly here with this victory here. Congratulations to Shrek. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short break, though, guys. We're going to be coming back, however, pretty shortly here. We got Shrek versus Fresh now going to be happening here in just a couple of minutes. Stay tuned, guys. We'll be back.